This is Doris's Golf Club, where I explore the stories of women's golf, my path as a beginner, and the lessons the game offers beyond the fairway. Welcome to the club.
안녕하세요. Hello. You all, I am coming to you one last time from Korea. This is right after the International Crown has finished. I'm back in the hotel. I have had some food. I'm exhausted. But I wanted to come to you and tell you very quickly what happened on this last day. It was wild. It was fantastic. What a day. Okay, no more delay. Team Australia won the International Crown. I cannot believe it. The USA came in second. I'm so proud of our ladies. I really am. They did such an amazing job. They all played so well throughout the entire tournament. Man, they did a fantastic job. And then the world team came in third and Japan came in fourth. So let me tell you what happened, because Australia really came through and they were, I would say, the big upset for the tournament. Whew, and how it happened was very exciting. To start the day, as you all know, in the semifinal round, the US was scheduled to play Team Japan, and then the world team was scheduled to play Team Australia. I frankly thought it was going to end up being the world team versus Team USA in the finals. That was kind of my hope. But here is what happened. Team USA was playing Team Japan. And so in our singles, as I had predicted last night, Angel Yin and Yelimi No were our women playing in the singles matches. And then Lauren Coughlin and Lilia Vu, who have been playing so well together as a team, they were playing the foursome match today. So with Japan, we had another kind of switch up. So Rio and Miyu were playing singles. And so Angel was scheduled to play Rio, and Miyu Yamashita was playing Yelimi No. And then Mao and Ayaka were playing Lauren Coughlin and Lilia Vu. And we ended up winning. We went both of our singles matches won. And so because we won both of those, it was the first to two. 2 points would make it on to the finals. And so once Angel won her match, and then once Yalimi won her match, then we were done. And so Lauren Coughlin and Lilia Vu stopped playing. Then, okay, so you guys, the world team versus Team Australia. I mean, I really expected the world team to win. It came down to a playoff. Okay, so Charlie Hull and Brooke Henderson were the two that played the singles matches. And then Lydia Ko and Wei Ling Shi played together for the first time and did the foursome match. And they were playing against Grace Kim and Stephanie Kiriakou. So it came up to it at the very end, and the singles matches, the world had won one and Australia had won one. And then, you guys, the world team was up one until the 17th hole, and Grace Kim had this excellent putt to tie at the 17th hole. They remained tied at the end of the 18th. And so because it required two of their different teams to actually win, you had to get 2 points to advance. You couldn't have a tie. So the foursome match went on and had a playoff, basically a sudden death playoff. So they started back at the 10th hole. They tied that hole. They went on to the 11th. And you guys, Team Australia won. Team Australia won. Could not believe it. So the world team then was playing Japan in the finals for third place. And Team USA was playing Team Australia for the win. I really, again, didn't want to jinx it, but I really expected the USA to win. I mean, we had been doing so well, even better than I had expected. So the way it was set up, Angel Yin was playing Minji Lee, and Yelimi No was playing Hannah Green. And then Grace Kim and Stephanie Kiriakou were playing Lilia Vu and Lauren Coughlin in that foursome match. You guys, I think I have told you, Hannah Green, I love those white earmuffs. I love it. But when I was going through and talking about Team Australia, like, of course, Minji Lee, she just won a major this year. She's been relevant for years. Hannah Green this year has not been playing very well. Last year, she played very well. In years past, she has played well. But this year, she has not been playing very well. I did not think that Yalimi was going to have an issue playing a singles match against Hannah Green. It was going back and forth. So Angel and Minji were tied for the longest time. Then I looked down at the score. I don't know why I had not internalized this. Because my mind wouldn't let me. Hannah Green was up 3 at one point. And I just kept telling my husband, I'm like, oh yeah, it's fine. I mean, Yalima, like, of course, she's winning this. She's up 3. I kept saying, Yelimi's up 3. And he was looking at me, and finally he's like, no, Hannah's up 3. I'm like, no, what do you mean? No, what? Yes, Hannah Green was up 3. Yelimi finally came back. She brought it back to where Hannah Green was only up 1. I was thrilled. I was thinking, okay, because then Lauren Coughlin and Lilia Vu were tied in their foursomes match. So Angel and the foursomes match were tied. Limi was only down by 1 at one point. Like, okay, great. We have enough time. This is how it happens. We will come back. Great. Next thing I know, we've dropped another. So Limi is back down by 2. And then all of a sudden I look at the score, and because I'd initially started following Angel, but then I had dropped back and was following Yalimi. And then I decided basically at the end of the 15th hole, I stayed back and was following Lauren Coughlin and Lilia Vu. So I'm looking at the score and keep refreshing my phone. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, we have Angel down by 1. Yalimi's down by 2. And then Lauren and Lilia dropped. And so they were down by 1. And oh my goodness, it was so horrible. And I thought, no, okay, we can still do it. I'm counting down the holes. Like, we can still do it. We ended up, I was on the fairway of the 17th green. And Lilia Vu and Lauren Coughlin, their foursomes match was going either fairly quickly or Yalimi and Hannah were going fairly slowly. I don't know. But basically the foursomes match kept kind of bumping up against Yalimi and Hannah. So they were having to wait for a while. So we were seriously on the 17th fairway. Steph Kiriakou was back a little bit farther. So she was getting ready to hit, I believe it was the second shot. And the way that the layout is on the 17th hole, it's a pretty dramatic slope up to the green. But we could see we were waiting for Yalimi and Hannah up at the green to finish. But Steph was down there getting ready for her shot. Lauren Coughlin was down waiting for her shot. And then Lilia and Grace Kim had both gone up and were closer to the green because that would have been then their shot in the foursomes match. So I was standing there getting ready, to watch Stephanie Kiriakou hit. And all of a sudden we hear all these cheers from the 17th green. And you guys, we could tell Grace Kim was up there. She ran up on the green. We had heard some groans when Yalimi had putt. All these cheers then when Hannah putted. Grace ran up there on the green and started giving everyone hugs, and that was it. Everyone was running out there, and we knew it was done. They had won because Angels was already done, and then right there at the 17th is when Hannah had won, and so it was really funny. We're just all there kind of waiting to finish, and so then Steph is like looking around. She's like, oh, okay, so I guess I don't need to hit my ball, right? I can pick it up. So confirmed, yes, everything was done. So she just picks up her ball and everyone just walks on up. It's such a funny thing with match play, you guys, how these matches can end like so kind of unceremoniously, while another team is just standing there waiting to hit while crowds are watching. waiting for these other people to hit. And nope, done. Anyway, so then everyone went up, and there were a lot of Australian fans. I think Minji Lee is very popular in general, but lots of people I met were Minji Lee fans, big Minji Lee fans. And so, I mean, Australia by far had the most people cheering. I and my husband had our pennants, which were great, but, not many people from the US here. And so Team Australia definitely had a lot of representation in the crowd. I think really, I mean, obviously, if they hadn't won that playoff, they would not have been in the final match, to even play for first place. They would have been playing for third. But I really think the way that theirs ended there with the playoff, they had come from behind, they had tied, and then they had the playoff and won. And that's how they entered this final afternoon to see who was going to win the whole thing. I really think that Team Australia just had the momentum, and they really did have the crowds. And so hats off, crowns off to Team Australia for winning the international crown. I will say I stayed for part of the ceremony and got some good kind of video. The crowns are gorgeous. They are gorgeous. I don't know. It kind of looked like Tiffany silver, but I don't know because they had these lovely bags, that the crowns are put in. But yes, lots of pictures with them wearing the crowns. Hannah Green's was falling off. Several people's were falling off, but really great pictures. And then it was really funny during the ceremony. I did kind of appreciate it, but it was cracking me up. So basically, obviously, everything was translated, the announcer would speak in Korean and then would speak in English. And so I guess Hannah Green was the captain. I never did really learn about how captains were chosen or who was captain and what decisions they really made. But they had come over and had some pictures with the crowns first, and then they had gone back for the official ceremony. So as they're walking in, Hannah's, holding the big Australian flag and she's waving it. And, the four of them are standing there and, she's waving back and forth. And so the announcer is talking about, like, he's saying something in Korean. And then he says, he's doing these announcements like, and now the team captain will wave the Australian flag proudly. And she's like, oh, yes, okay. Like, I'm already doing it. A bunch of us were kind of laughing, like, oh, okay. To hear the English was very funny. And then he would say something, and then he'd be like, and now the team captain will place the flag into the flag hole so that it can stand proudly for all to admire, things like that. And she's like, oh, okay. So then she puts it down, into the ground. And then it was just stuff like that throughout, like with Craig Kessler handing out, he and Sari Pak got to officially hand out the crowns. And so the announcer would say, for example, he'd say something and then he'd say in English, and now the LPGA commissioner, Craig Kessler, will hand Minji Lee her crown. And then it would happen. It just was really fun and cute and funny. And obviously, I have not heard a ceremony like that before. So it was a fun new thing. But yeah, it was really spectacular and very well planned. Everything that was done was so nice. They presented the trophy. It was all very lovely. But okay, you guys, I just wanted to tell you exactly kind of what happened and who won. That's the biggest thing. So it's Australia first, Team USA second, and the world team was third. So I got nothing right other than the US coming in second. Oh, my goodness. I am so proud of our ladies. They came together. They really were an awesome team. Watching the four of them throughout the 4 days, they were so fantastic. So proud of our ladies. And I'll do a longer recap later about the whole trip to Korea and just more about the tournament. But I tell you what, this was a really well-run tournament. They were so welcoming. Everything was so great. Okay. I will check back in when I'm back in the US. I hope you all have enjoyed these updates from Korea, and More to come later, but until next time, bye.